Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into something crucial for top-performing real estate agents. That feeling when you've hit a ceiling.
Yeah, when you just can't grow anymore on your own.
Exactly. So we're looking at the roadmap, the real-world plan for making that huge shift from being a successful solo agent, the me, to leading a whole team, the we.
And it's probably one of the biggest, maybe the biggest challenge in a real estate career, but, also potentially the most rewarding.
Absolutely. And this isn't just about, hiring a couple of people and hoping for the best. Our sources lay out a really detailed framework. We're talking systematization, intense focus, changing your whole leadership identity, really.
It's about building a scalable operation.
Yeah.
Basically stepping out of just doing deals yourself and becoming the CEO of your own business.
Okay, let's jump right in then. The first big hurdle, according to our sources, is figuring out that critical pivot point.
Yeah.
Like, when exactly do you hire someone?
Right. It's tempting, isn't it? You think, oh, if I just had an assistant, I could do so much more.
Yeah, hire now, get busy later. But one of our experts really flips that idea on its head.
They do. The emphasis is crystal clear. The amount of business you already have has to dictate the need. You absolutely do not build a team first and then just cross your fingers hoping the business magically appears.
That sounds like a recipe for stress and losing money.
It really is. It's building backwards. It's the difference between, needing help and just wanting help. Aspiration versus actual necessity.
So how do you know when it's necessity?
Well, the analogy used is pretty good. Think about selling pencils. If you're selling millions of pencils every year, yeah, you need a factory, a sales team, the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
But if you're selling like a dozen pencils a month,
Right.
Keep selling pencils. You're not ready for a team yet.
So apply that to real estate. If you're closing so many deals that you physically can't keep up with the paperwork, the client follow-up,
Yeah.
showing properties, that's the signal.
That's the signal. You're dropping balls,
Yeah.
important balls. And that's when the cost of not having help outweighs the cost of hiring someone.
Okay, so the advice isn't hire an assistant now so you can maybe close more deals later. It's more like push yourself, keep taking on more.
Exactly. Create that, what the sources call controlled chaos. Feel overwhelmed. Have too many things juggling at once.
Right. That pressure proves the business can actually support another salary. It justifies the hire.
It justifies the hire, and it proves your model is working already. You're not hiring into a void. You're hiring to manage existing success and unlock the next level. You need to feel that pain point where you know you're leaving money on the table because you just don't have the bandwidth.
Okay, so let's say you've hit that point. You're drowning in deals. Controlled chaos is your reality. You make the hire. Now what? The sources say the real challenge isn't finding the money, it's changing who you are.
This is huge. It's this fundamental identity shift. You have to stop being just the technician, the person really good at selling houses, and become the entrepreneur, the person designing the system that sells houses.
That sounds like a major mental shift.
It is. And it connects to this really profound idea about what a truly scalable business is. The sources argue that the real product isn't what the business sells. It's not the house. It's not the hamburger.
It's how it sells it. The system itself.
Exactly. The business system becomes the product. Think about McDonald's, you mentioned it earlier. Their genius wasn't inventing a better burger.
No, it was the system, making it identical everywhere.
Right. A repeatable, scalable system that ensures consistency no matter who's flipping the burger or managing the store on Tuesday. That's what a real estate team leader needs to build.
So my new job isn't just selling houses. It's perfecting the training manual, the CRM protocols, the lead follow-up scripts, making sure everyone on my team delivers the same high-quality experience.
Precisely. You're moving from being the star player to being the coach and the general manager who designs the playbook. You're selling predictability and consistency now, not just your personal charm.
That makes a lot of sense. But okay, before you dive headfirst into designing playbooks and systems, there's this initial step check the sources insist on, starting with a compelling why.
Yes. And this can feel a bit fluffy, especially when you're super busy. Action feels way more important than sitting around thinking about purpose.
Right. I don't have time for philosophy. I've got closings. How do the sources suggest you make time for this? Why is it so critical?
They argue it's the foundation because building systems is tedious. Recruiting people is often frustrating. Leading humans is complex. It's messy.
Things will go wrong.
Things will go wrong. Markets dip, star agents leave, systems break. If your only why is I want to make more money, that motivation can crumble pretty fast when the going gets tough.
So the why needs to be deeper.
Much deeper. Maybe it's about creating stable careers for 10 families in your community. Or maybe it's about completely changing the home buying experience, making it less stressful for people in your city. Something bigger than just your own bank account.
It's the anchor then. When things get difficult, that's what keeps you committed to the process.
Exactly. Without that clear purpose, that anchor, it's just too easy to give up or cut corners when you hit the inevitable roadblocks. It provides the reason to push through the how.
Okay, so purpose first. That leads us nicely into the next section, the actual foundation of growth mindset, focus, and vision. And building on that why, we get into defining the goal.
Right. And the key here is specificity. You can't just say, I want to grow the team. It's too vague. What does grow even mean? How do you measure it?
So vague goals lead to vague efforts. Makes sense.
Totally. You need something concrete.
Mm.
And the sources introduce this interesting concept, a viral goal for the team.
Viral goal. Okay, what does that mean? Is it just a catchy name?
It's more than catchy, it's strategic. The idea is that the team's overarching goal needs to be structured so that it automatically fulfills the individual goals of every team member, provided they follow the system. There has to be this rational, measurable link.
Can you give an example of how that works?
Sure. Let's say your big goal as the leader is hitting, I don't know, $2 million in gross commission income, GCI.
Ambitious.
Right. Now, maybe a typical buyer's agent on your team, their personal goal is to reliably make, say, $120,000 a year.
Okay.
The viral connection is the system you build, the lead generation, the training, the admin support that essentially guarantees that agent can hit their $120 a target if they execute the plan, make the calls, follow the scripts, etc.
Ah, I see. So the agent's success directly fuels the leader's bigger goal.
Yeah,
Their 120K is baked into your $2 million.
exactly. The system makes the leader's goal almost inevitable if the team members achieve their own goals by following the system. The motivation becomes inherently shared and aligned. It's not just the leader cracking the whip. The system itself pulls everyone forward together.
That's a powerful structure. Okay, so you have this clear viral goal. How do you actually execute on it? The sources hammer home the idea of focus.
Oh, big time. Focus is presented as the absolute key to exceptional success. More important than just working hard, more important than years of experience, sometimes even more than raw talent.
Really? More than talent.
That's the argument.
Yeah.
Because focus allows you to apply your effort, experience, and talent to the right things. It's about mastering the 80-20 principle.
The Pareto principle. Yeah. Focusing on the 20% of activities that generate 80% of the results.
Exactly. In real estate, what's that 20%? Usually it's things like consistent lead generation, particularly with your sphere of influence, high conversion listing appointments, and maybe skillful negotiation.
And the 80% is stuff that feels busy but doesn't move the needle much.
Oh, endless tweaking of your website design, spending hours perfecting email signatures, attending networking lunches with no clear ROI, getting lost in administrative tasks that could be delegated. A focused leader ruthlessly cuts out or delegates that 80% busy work.
So maintaining that focus requires discipline. How do you make it stick day to day? The sources mention specific execution cycles.
Yeah, because real execution happens daily and weekly, not just when you have a quarterly review. One powerful system highlighted is the 12-week year.
I've heard of that. Compressing a year's goals into 12 weeks.
That's the core idea. You treat 12 weeks like an entire year. Suddenly, every single week matters intensely. Every day matters. You simply don't have time to procrastinate or have a few off weeks.
Wow, that creates urgency.
Massive urgency. It forces you to confront any lack of execution immediately. You can't hide behind the comfortable thought of, oh, I've still got 9 months left. It shines a bright light on whether you're actually doing the work required this week.
And that rigor extends to how you define the work, right? The tactics need to be super clear.
Absolutely. Vague tactics are useless. Improve lead follow-up. What does that even mean? An effective tactic has to be specific, actionable, measurable, assigned, and time-bound.
Like what?
Like, buyer agent Sarah will make 40 contact attempts to sphere of influence leads using Script B between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. every Tuesday, aiming to book 2 buyer consultations, due every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Okay, that's crystal clear. No wiggle room. You either did it or you didn't.
Exactly. It makes accountability straightforward and binary.
Now, this next part I find really fascinating. Shifting beyond just changing what you do to changing who you are. The sources talk about 3 layers of change.
Yeah, outcomes, processes, and identity. Outcomes are your results, like the GCI number. Processes are your systems, the how-to. But identity is about who you believe you are, your self-image.
And identity change is the deepest, most lasting.
By far. Because your actions tend to align with who you believe you are. If you still see yourself deep down as just a busy agent who happens to have an assistant, you'll keep getting pulled back into doing agent-level tasks. You won't fully step into the leader role.
So you have to consciously adopt a new identity.
You have to get really clear on who you need to be to achieve your goals. You need to start thinking and acting like the CEO of a thriving real estate company even before the company is fully thriving. It's that idea of be, do, have. You have to be the leader first, then do the leader's work in order to have the leader's results.
Okay, but that sounds hard. How do you install that new identity?
Yeah.
Especially when you're still doing a lot of the old work.
Great question. One powerful shortcut the sources recommend is leveraging knowledge, specifically through reading.
Reading, like books.
Books, articles, case studies, it's presented as the fast track. Why stumble around making mistakes for years trying to figure out, say, the perfect team compensation model?
When someone else has already written a book about the 5 models that work and the 3 that failed miserably.
Exactly. Model the success of people who've already achieved what you want to achieve. Read their strategies, understand their mindset, absorb their frameworks. Don't reinvent the wheel.
So reading helps you download the operating system of that successful CEO identity much faster.
That's a great way to put it. It gives you the mental architecture, the language, the perspective of the person you need to become. It accelerates that identity shift.
All right, this makes sense. We've got the mindset, the focus, the identity shift underway. Now let's get practical. Section 3, designing the actual team structure, roles, compensation.
Okay. And here's a really counterintuitive but critical insight for building a scalable system. Extraordinary businesses, the ones that truly scale like crazy.
Yeah.
They intentionally design their systems to be run by ordinary people.
Wait, ordinary people, not superstars.
Not primarily, no. Think about it. If your entire business model depends on finding and hiring only A-plus rockstar agents who already have massive books of business, well, good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be slow, expensive, and they might leave easily.
Right. The necessity of building a system that works with average trainable talent is what forces innovation. It forces you to create those bulletproof checklists, scripts, and processes, the McDonald's model again, so that ordinary people, when plugged into your extraordinary system, can produce extraordinary and crucially repeatable results.
So the system is the star, not the individual agent.
The system is the star. It ensures quality and consistency regardless of who's executing the task on a given day. It makes the business less dependent on any single person, including you, the leader.
Okay, so if the system is the star, what does the leader actually do? What are their main jobs in this model?
The sources are pretty specific here. 4 primary, high-leverage responsibilities for the team leader. Number 1, lead generation.
Still number 1, even with agents prospecting.
Still number 1, we'll come back to why. Number 2, taking listings. High skill, high trust activity. Number 3, negotiating contracts, especially the complex ones. And number 4, recruiting. Constantly finding and attracting talent.
Okay, notice what's not on that list for the leader.
Showing houses to buyers all weekend. Writing standard purchase offers. Doing basic admin tasks. Those need to be delegated through the system.
Let's circle back to lead generation being the leader's job. Why is that so critical if the agents are also supposed to be generating leads?
It's about stability and risk mitigation. The leader's core responsibility is to ensure there's a consistent, predictable flow of leads coming into the team, supplementing whatever the agents generate themselves.
So it's a safety net.
It's a massive safety net. It creates loyalty. If agents feel like they're constantly scrambling, worrying about where their next commission check is coming from, they'll eventually look elsewhere for more stability. The leader providing consistent lead flow makes the team the most secure place for an agent to be.
That makes sense. Okay, so what about the agents on the ground? The buyer's agents or specialists, what are their core duties within the system?
Their role is very focused on execution. Generating their own leads, too, of course, through prospecting, but also converting the leads the team provides. Intense follow-up and nurturing of leads in the CRM. Conducting those buyer consultations. Showing properties. Writing and negotiating offers. And managing the deal through closing, especially inspections and repairs.
So they're the frontline executioners focused on conversion and client care during the transaction.
Exactly. High activity, high focus on the client interaction points.
And how does this translate into paying them? Compensation is always a big one. What do the sources say about standard splits and structures?
Well, the industry standard is often cited as 50-50 for a buyer's agent, especially if the team is providing significant value leads, admin support, transaction coordination, marketing, CRM systems, training.
Right, the agent gets half, the team gets half to cover all that overhead and generate profit.
Pretty much. However, that 50% to the agent might be lower, maybe down to, say, 35% or 40% if there are other specialized roles involved in getting that client.
Like an inside sales agent, an ISA.
Exactly. If you have an ISA who prospects, qualifies the lead, and sets the appointment, that ISA needs to be paid out of the commission too. So the buyer agent split on those specific leads provided by the ISA might be lower because the upfront work was done for them.
That makes sense, splitting the commission based on who did what part of the work.
Correct. It aligns incentives properly. And it brings up another interesting role mentioned, the ISA showing assistant hybrid.
Okay, what's special about that hybrid role?
It's highlighted as a fantastic training ground, a place to develop really strong foundational habits. Prospecting skills, lead conversion, learning the market inventory by actually showing properties, handling objections.
So it's like an apprenticeship. They get paid to learn the ropes without the full pressure of carrying a deal from start to finish immediately.
Precisely. It's a lower risk way for someone new to get into the business, learn the systems, build confidence, and prove themselves. And for the team leader, it's a cost-effective way to develop talent systematically. You can see who has the drive and skills before promoting them to a full agent role.
Okay, section 4. Let's talk about the engine that drives the whole thing. Leads, activity, and crucially, accountability. We know the leader provides leads, but what about the agent's own generation?
The sources are unanimous on this. The absolute bedrock, the foundation of any successful agent's business, whether solo or on a team, must be their sphere of influence, their SOI database.
Their network, friends, family, past clients.
Exactly. Building a referral-based business by systematically staying in touch and providing value to people who already know, like, and trust you. It's the long game. It's sustainable, it's low cost, and the leads are usually high quality.
So what about other methods? Open houses, Zillow leads, circle prospecting.
Those are important too. They're valuable supplements, especially for generating business from people you don't know yet, which you need for faster growth and scale. But they should be the supplement, not the primary source.
Why not rely mainly on, say, paid online leads? It seems faster.
It can be faster initially, but it's expensive, often lower conversion rates, and crucially, you don't own that lead source. If Zillow changes its algorithm or prices tomorrow, your business could evaporate overnight. Building on your SOI means building an asset you control.
Okay, so focus on SOI. How do you make that work effectively? The sources mention a ninja strategy. Sounds cool, but what is it?
It's less about martial arts and more about extreme customer focus. Being highly relevant to your SOI context, really understanding their needs, and delivering what the sources call fabled service.
Fabled service, like legendary service.
Yeah, service so unexpectedly good, so personalized and thoughtful that people can't help but talk about it. Think beyond just the transaction, handwritten notes months later, remembering kids' birthdays, providing hyper-local market updates relevant to their specific house, connecting them with trusted vendors.
Going way above and beyond the basic.
Way above. That's what generates that priceless word of mouth, that advocacy. People become your raving fans and actively send you referrals without even being asked sometimes. That's the fuel for a powerful SOI engine.
Okay, delivering fabled service, focusing on SOI. But how does the leader track if the team is actually doing the work needed to get these results? You can't just wait for closings.
You absolutely can't. You need to focus on tracking activity-based indicators or ABIs. This is critical.
As opposed to just result-based indicators, RBIs, like closed sales.
Right. RBIs tell you what happened in the past. ABIs predict the future. You need to track the inputs that lead to the results. How many meaningful SOI contacts were made this week? How many buyer consultations were booked? How many listing appointments occurred?
So the team dashboard needs to show the activity levels, not just the final score.
Exactly. Because you can't directly control whether a specific deal closes. Too many factors are involved. But you can control whether an agent makes their 50 prospecting calls today. Tracking ABIs tells you if the team is doing the work necessary to eventually hit the RBIs.
That brings us to accountability. This is often a huge pain point for team leaders, right? Having agents who take leads but don't seem to pull their own weight.
Huge pain point. And the key insight here is reframing accountability. It shouldn't feel like punishment. It needs to be about mutual commitment and ownership.
Okay, how do you structure that?
The sources propose a critical RBI called the matching standard.
A matching standard.
Yeah. The principle is that each agent should strive to generate and close as many transactions from their own efforts, their SOI, their prospecting, as they close from leads provided by the team.
So it's a one-to-one match, ideally. If the team gives you leads that result in 6 closings this year, you should also be bringing in 6 closings from your own sphere.
That's the standard to aim for. It proves the agent isn't just passively receiving business, they're actively building their own business within the team structure. It shows they're committed partners, not just employees waiting for a handout.
And how does this play out in recruiting?
It's a fantastic filter. The sources say you should discuss this matching standard up front. If a potential recruit balks at the idea of having to generate their own business alongside team leads, if they say, oh, that's not really the fit I'm looking for,
That's a red flag.
it's a huge red flag. It likely means they're not truly committed to doing the hard work required for success. They just want the easy leads. The matching standard helps you identify genuinely motivated, business-minded agents versus those just looking for a shortcut.
Okay, one more piece in this section, negotiation. It's one of the leader's core duties, but crucial for agents too. What techniques do the sources highlight?
A few key tactical tools. First, using calibrated questions. These are generally what and how questions.
Why those specifically?
Because what and how questions tend to be open-ended. They gather information, make the other side feel heard, and cleverly guide them towards solving your problem. You avoid why questions.
Why avoid why? Seems natural.
Why often puts people on the defensive. It sounds accusatory. Why won't you accept this offer? Feels like an attack.
Okay, so what's an alternative?
Instead, you might ask what aspects of the offer are most important for you, or how can we adjust the terms to make this work for you? It keeps things collaborative and less emotional. It makes them think and reveal their priorities.
Got it. Makes them do the work. What else?
Another simple but powerful tool is mirroring.
Mirroring. Like copying body language.
Less about body language, more verbal. It's repeating the last 1 to 3 keywords the other person just said, often with a slight upward questioning inflection.
How does that help?
It's almost subconscious. When you mirror someone, it makes them feel listened to, and it encourages them to elaborate, to keep talking, often revealing more than they intended. If a seller says, my bottom line is $500,000, you just calmly repeat, $500,000.
And they'll likely explain why it's $500,000.
Exactly. It keeps them talking and gives you more information without being confrontational. It builds rapport almost invisibly.
Interesting. And the last one mentioned is embracing no, seeking no. That sounds wrong.
It sounds counterintuitive, but great negotiators understand that no is often where the real conversation starts. Getting a quick yes can sometimes mean the other party feels they haven't been heard or they're holding something back.
So getting to know clears the air.
It can. Inviting a no, maybe by asking a question like, is it a ridiculous idea for us to close in 20 days? Allows the other side to assert their position and feel in control. Once they've said no to something, it actually lowers barriers and makes them more open to finding a yes elsewhere. It defines the boundaries so you know where you can actually negotiate.
All right, moving into our final section, sustaining and scaling the business long term. This involves shifting perspective again, this time to the investor mindset.
Yes, a successful team leader can't just think like an agent anymore. They need to understand how real estate investors think and operate. It's less about granite countertops.
And more about ROI, cap rates, appreciation, cash flow.
Exactly. You need to understand the financial fundamentals. Things like how foreclosures work in your market, what local rental rates are doing, how property taxes impact returns. Your team needs to be able to speak this language fluently to serve investor clients or even just sophisticated homeowners.
And if your team can talk intelligently about things like cost segregation studies or 1031 exchanges,
then you're providing vastly more value than the agent who only talks about staging and open houses. You become a true advisor, not just a salesperson.
speed is also mentioned as critical in this investor world.
Absolutely critical. Real estate moves fast, especially investment deals. The sources emphasize that responsiveness, answering your phone, replying to emails quickly, acting decisively is often the single biggest factor in getting an offer accepted, especially in competitive situations.
So the agent or team leader who turns off their phone at 5 p.m. sharp is potentially losing deals.
Potentially losing a lot of deals. Speed signals professionalism, commitment, and competence. Investors in particular value speed and efficiency immensely.
Okay, beyond serving investors, how does this mindset apply to the leader's own strategy for building wealth through the business? The sources lay out some core principles.
Yeah, 4 cardinal principles for building wealth via real estate, often through holding investment properties yourself or helping your team members do so.
Okay.
First, Borrow the maximum amount you can safely repay. Use leverage, other people's money, OPM, wisely to amplify returns on your actual cash invested.
Okay, number 2.
Buy property that needs improvement. Look for value-add opportunities where you can force appreciation through smart renovations, not just hope the market goes up.
Create equity. Got it. 3rd.
Make selective improvements. Focus on renovations that genuinely increase the property's value or rentability, not just expensive cosmetic upgrades that you personally like. Think ROI on every dollar spent.
Be strategic, not emotional. And 4th.
Keep selling at a profit and reinvesting. Use those gains, often through tax-deferred strategies we'll discuss, to trade up into larger or more profitable assets. Pyramid your wealth over time.
This sounds powerful, but it also involves risk, right? Especially compared to something like just buying index funds.
Absolutely. Higher potential returns nearly always come with higher risk. The sources contrast real estate with, say, large-cap stocks, which historically returned around 10% annually, but also had down years about 30% of the time. Real estate has its own risks, market downturns, vacancy, unexpected repairs, but it also offers unique advantages.
Like leverage and tax benefits.
Exactly. The ability to control a large asset with relatively little cash down plus significant tax advantages like depreciation gives real estate a different risk-reward profile than passive stock investing.
Let's dive into those tax advantages. The sources call them magic tax savers for property owners.
Yeah, the two big ones for income property are depreciation and favorable capital gains treatment.
Explain depreciation again simply. It seems like magic.
It kind of is. Depreciation allows you to deduct a portion of your property's cost basis, excluding land, from your rental income each year, reflecting theoretical wear and tear. The magic part is it's a non-cash deduction. You get the tax break even though you didn't actually spend that money out of pocket that year. It can significantly reduce or even eliminate the taxable income from a rental property.
Wow, and you can accelerate that. The sources mention cost segregation.
Yes, this is a more advanced strategy, usually for larger properties. A cost segregation study involves engineers identifying components of the building that can be depreciated much faster than the standard 27.5 years for residential or 39 years for commercial.
Like what kind of components?
Things like landscaping, paving, carpeting, specific electrical or plumbing fixtures, cabinetry. These might get classified as 5, 7, or 15-year property instead of 27.5 or 39.
So you get much bigger depreciation deductions in the early years of ownership.
Exactly. It supercharges your depreciation, pushing deductions from the future into the present, which gives you significant immediate tax savings. Of course, there are rules about whether you can use those losses against other income, but it's a powerful tool for serious investors.
And the other big one,
Yeah.
the 1031 exchange, deferring capital gains tax when you sell.
The holy grail for building long-term wealth without tax drag. Section 1031 of the tax code allows you to sell an investment property and defer paying capital gains tax if you reinvest the proceeds into a like-kind replacement property.
But the rules are strict.
Very strict. Two key deadlines. You have exactly 45 calendar days from the date you close the sale of your old property, the relinquished property, to formally identify potential replacement properties.
Okay, 45 days to identify.
And you have a total of 180 calendar days from that same closing date to actually purchase and close on one or more of those identified replacement properties. Miss either deadline and the exchange fails.
And there's a value requirement too, right?
Crucial. To fully defer all the tax, the purchase price of your new property or properties must be equal to or greater than the net sales price of the old property. And you generally need to reinvest all the cash proceeds equity.
What happens if you don't meet that value target? Say you sell for $1 million, but only buy for $800,000.
That $200,000 difference is called boot. Any boot you receive, whether cash or because you bought a cheaper property, is generally taxable up to the amount of your capital gain. If your gain was huge, failing to replace the full value can trigger a surprisingly large tax bill, potentially making the entire gain taxable if not structured carefully. Understanding these rules is absolutely essential for anyone doing a 1031.
Wow. Okay, wrapping this all up, it's clear that going from a top solo agent to a successful team leader is a massive undertaking. It's as much an organizational and mental challenge as anything else.
Definitely. We've seen how crucial that intentional system design is. Even designing the business, assuming you'll hire ordinary people, forces you to build truly robust, innovative systems that lead to extraordinary, repeatable results.
We've covered a ton, the identity shift to CEO, focusing with things like the 12-week year, the mechanics of the matching standard for accountability, and getting into sophisticated investor strategies like cost seg and 1031s.
It's a comprehensive picture pulling from deep expertise on how these high-performing teams are actually built and sustained.
So for you listening, we know that just hearing this stuff isn't enough. Knowledge is only potential power, right? It needs action. So here's the provocative thought. If you really applied these focus strategies, like treating the next 3 months as your 12-week year, what's the one single most critical part of your business right now that's still kind of chaotic, unsystematized?
Yeah, what's that one thing that if you documented it, created a checklist, made it a repeatable system this week, would make the biggest difference in freeing up your time or improving consistency?
Identify that one thing and commit to systematizing it. That's how you start building the machine.
And remember that final principle. Your mind is your greatest asset. Train it well. Use the systems thinking, the financial literacy, the leadership principles we talked about today. That's how you build not just a successful team, but sustainable wealth.